All right, welcome to Small Chalk Talk 2.4, where we're talking about standard form of a linear equation. It is different from slope-intercept form. Standard form does allow us to do three things, however. We've already talked about slope-intercept form, so we use it throughout this Chalk Talk as a reference point. It allows us to find the x and y intercepts of a linear equation when graphed on a line. And it also allows us to kind of understand what those things mean. Two, it allows us to rewrite the equation into slope-intercept form, which, again, if we know slope-intercept form, that's helpful. It relates to something we know. And then three, it also allows us to graph the equation. Okay? Now, the first thing we're going to talk about is I'm going to set us up with a problem, and then we're going to talk through the whole process of using standard form and what it allows us to do via that problem. So, what we have here is this young lady has a, pardon the announcement on the, yes, okay. Treyasha has landed a job working at Houlihan's as both a server and a hostess. She very much enjoys it and tries to work as much as she can to make money because she wants to buy a dress that costs, in total with tax, $200. Treyasha prefers working as a hostess because she makes $10 an hour. As a server, she makes $8 per hour. What possible combinations of working as a hostess/server could she work to earn $200? Now, one thing I will admit is that, hey, servers get tips. You know, that's a good thing, but we are not going to count that in. So really, it's probably better for her to work as a server maybe. But let's just go with what we got here, okay? Now, first of all, we could find the intercepts, all right? So I'm going to go back over here and talk about the x and the y intercept and what they mean a little bit. The y-intercept, people, is the spot at which the line hits the y-axis, okay? So, and it always has a 0 for the x, all right? Then the x-intercept is the line at which the place at which the line hits the x-axis, all right? So you got to know those two things, and they actually are limits in this case. Okay, we can't go negative. We can't work a negative amount of hours. So in this case, they limit us, and that's why it's helpful to find them, all right? So here we go. This is what you would do, okay? This is a lot of work. So as I kind of talk through this, you can kind of watch, all right? So first of all, you have to write the equation in standard form, 10x plus 8y equals 200. If you don't know how to do that, you are in some trouble. But you should have you know that we're trying to find the amount of hours, and then you've got that. Then all you do is to find the intercepts, okay, you just plug in zeros for these. So to find the x-intercept, you actually want to find the x-coordinate, because as we said, x-intercept always has an x-coordinate, okay, x comma 0. You do the math and you find x equals 20, 20 comma 0 is the x-intercept. Here, if you want to find the y-intercept, you want to find y, and so in this case, you plug in 0 for x, y equals 25. What this then means in the problem, if x is the hostess hours, y are the server hours, remember we want to find out what Treyasha needs to work in these specific jobs to get a total of 200. This means if she works 20 hours as a hostess, she will need to work 0 hours as a server. That's the interpretation. Here, the y-intercept, if she works 25 hours as a server, she will need to work 0 hours as a hostess. That's what that means. Okay, now, so we've found the x and y-intercept, which is always something we could do. Okay, but we also need other combinations. Okay, so that's where this next skill of rewriting it into slope-intercept form helps. Now, remember, slope-intercept form tells us two things, the slope and one of the intercepts, which is the y-intercept, okay, the constant coefficient. This is review, hopefully. Sorry, there's a glare on that M. There it is. So the coefficient of the variable term with an x is the slope. The y-intercept is the constant. So let me show you what I mean here by this. There it is, a bunch of stuff over here. Oh, man. So one thing we can do is to find other possible combinations of hours worked, we could rewrite it into slope-intercept form. Now what I need to do there is really the goal here is isolating y, so getting y all by itself, in which case I take away the variable term x over the other side using inverse operations. I divide out the coefficient, and bam, there I have it. Here's another way to write this. I have simplified it. Notice I went from 10 over 8 to 5 over 4 just by common factor of 2, divided each by 2. I simplified it. That is not math I want to get stuck on in this case. You should know that. There it is. Bam. Okay. So we already knew this, by the way, because we already found it, 0.25. So the way to find another combo is, here's what I could do. I could go back to 2.1 and think about, all right, what could I plug in here to get y? And that's all I need. I need an ordered pair for combination. 8 times 5 is 40. Okay. 40 divided by 4 is negative. 40 divided by 4 is 10, but there's negative. So negative 10 plus 25 would be 15. So y equals 15. Okay, sorry, that's what that should have been. Y equals 15. So really what I have is, if you work 8 hours, or she works 8 hours as a hostess, she would work 15 hours as a server. There's another combination. Okay, so you can use your knowledge of slope-intercept form to do that. Okay, the other thing you could do is, you could actually just do something like this. You can use the original equation and go, all right, well, let's just play around with some math here. So I would use the same example. What I could do is just go, all right, 8. Well, 8 times 10 is 80. 200 minus 80. We know that is 120. Okay, so 200 minus 80 is 120. What's 120 divided by 8? Okay, so then that is where, you might have to pull out your trusty calculator, which I don't have, but we should know this answer because we just found the same thing. It's 120 divided by 8 is 15. So I'm just saying, if you get stuck, what this would be is, again, we have 8 comma 15, and what we did is use standard form equation to kind of go backwards from this, and this should equal out to 200, and it does. So you basically, the same skill, you could plug in an x, then figure out when that x is whatever it is, find the y, and do it. The last skill then with standard form that's helpful is you could graph this thing also. And this is sort of that situation, the standard form equation graph of Treyasha's hours worked. I should have labeled this, actually. This should be hours server. Okay, this should be hours hostess. All right, and then a title would be appropriate as well. So that is ChalkTalk 2.4 on standard form. Hope you've enjoyed this standard form. Have a nice evening.